Students, today I discuss about the correlation and coefficient of correlation. Then, what are the difference between the correlation and regression? So, today I discuss about the what are the main objective of correlation. So, came to the main point. Correlation is to study the relation if it exists between two or more variables which are so related that a change in one variable is accompanied by change in other variables. कोरिलेशन एग्जैक्ट में क्या है, दो या दो से अधिक वेरिएबल्स के बीच में यदि आपका रिलेशन इस्टेब्लिश हो रहे हैं तो एक वेरिएबल को चेंज करने पर दूसरा वेरिएबल ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज हो जाएंगे. बट इन द केस ऑफ रिग्रेशन, on other hand, regression has aims at making prediction of unknown values of one variable from the unknown values of the other variable. यदि हम कोई प्रेडिक्शन कर रहे हैं, हमारा एम है कि अननोन वैल्यू को निकालना चाह रहे हैं, ठीक है, किसी दूसरे अदर वेरिएबल से. सपोज x और y के बीच में x का डेटा दिया हुआ है, y का डेटा को निकालना चाह रहे हैं इन कंपेयर टू x जो अननोन है. तो यदि हम जिस विधि के द्वारा निकालेंगे तब उसे हम रिग्रेशन एनालिसिस कहते हैं या रिग्रेशन बोल लें. So, we define correlation as a measure of relation between two variables. But in other words, it describes and understands the association between two continuous variables. We compute correlation. Thus, two variables are said to be correlated if an increase or decrease in one variable is accompanied by a increase or decrease in the other variable. Right? So, the correlation between two sets of major variables can be positive or maybe negative. If it is positive, then an increase in the corresponds to an increase in the other. But in the case of negative, when increases corresponds to decrease and decrease corresponds with increase. So there is also possibilities of third type of correlation, that is zero. Correlation between the two sets of measures of variables if there exists no relationship between them. Okay, I came to the main point. What is the difference between the correlation and regression? So, came to the main point which is come for your university exam. What is the difference between the correlation and regression? So, you can broadly tell us correlation coefficient is a symmetrical function between x and y, but the regression coefficient are not symmetrical function between x and y. Right? The second difference is correlation coefficient is independent of change, scale and origin, whereas the regression coefficient are independent of origin but not of scale. This is the major difference between the correlation and regression. The third difference is correlation coefficient is a relative measures of relationship whereas regression coefficient is an absolute measure of relationship. This is the third difference between the correlation and regression analysis. So, question come for your university exam, what are the difference between the correlation and regression for 2 marks? So, you can write, again I repeat, correlation coefficient is a symmetrical function between x and y, but the regression coefficient are not symmetrical function between x and y. The second difference, correlation coefficient is independent of change, scale and origin, whereas the regression coefficient are independent of the origin but not of scale. The third and last difference is correlation coefficient is a relative measure of relationship, whereas regression coefficient is an absolute measure of relationship. This is the difference between the correlation and regression analysis. So, came to the main point, what are the coefficient of correlation? How will you calculate the value of coefficient of correlation? So, there are two methods of computing of the coefficient of correlation. If your graph is found to be linear in nature, then you can use two methods. First method is known as rank difference method, and second method you can use as a product movement method. So, came to the first point, what is rank difference method? This method is also known as Charles-Spearman's coefficient of correlation or rank correlation. So, first of all, we define the techniques about the Charles-Spearman coefficient. It is a technique of determining the degree of correlation between two variables in the case of ordinal data, where ranks are given to the different values of the variables. So, the main objective of this coefficient is to determine the extent to which the two sets of ranking are similar or dissimilar. This coefficient is determined by the formula of the Spearman's coefficient, value denoted by the symbol small r s. So, Spearman's coefficient of correlation is denoted by the symbol small r s is equal to 1 minus under bracket 6 sigma d square by n bracket n square minus 1. This is the formula where d is equal to difference between the rank of ith pair of the two variables and n is the number of pairs observations. Right? So, come to the main point. How will you calculate the rank correlation? So, I come on example for the explanation of this theory. How will you calculate the correlation coefficient through this example? Here, in a school, the number of students having the different name, I symbolic called the name of the students is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. From A to K, number of students is 11. And their marks present in this next data in column. Marks obtained by the students in history subject is equal to X. This is the data from 80 to 85. Marks in subject of civics is equal to Y. Here given that the data 82 to 90. So you can make the rank in the third column, rank in history denoted by the symbol R1, rank in civics denoted by the symbol R2, and you can put the values of the rank of the students in history and in civics. So in fourth data, you can put the value of rank of history students, and in fifth data, you can put the value of rank in civics student. After that, you can find out the value of difference in rank. That is the formula D is equal to R1 minus R2. After calculation, you can got the value of D, that is 3 minus 2 is equal to 1, 11 minus 2 is equal to 9, 10 minus 10 is equal to 0, 9 minus 11 is equal to 2, and all the values here given that the positive in nature. So you can calculate here the value of D. After that, as per formula, you can calculate the last column is equal to D square. D square is equal to, you can put the value of A, 1 square, second value of B, 9, 9 square is equal to 81, third value of 0, 0 square is equal to 0, next value 2 square is equal to 4. Similarly, after calculating the value of D, you can find out or you can compute the value of summation of D square is equal to 92. So now you can put the value of rho is equal to 1 minus 6 sigma D square by n multiplied by n square minus 1. Right? So you can put the value of summation of D square is equal to 92 and value of n is equal to 11. After calculation, finally you got the value of rho. Rho is equal to 0.58. So after calculation, you can got through the rank coefficient of correlation method, the value of rho is equal to 0.58. Right? Any queries? Any questions? No. Okay. Thank you.